Hey guys, just checking out live on YouTube as well. Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I'm like over an hour later than planned, but it is what it is. I often joke I'm dyslexic, so I need extra time. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. Welcome to Black Wednesday, so the very part one. As I hope you enjoy it, and please let me know what you think as ever, and any suggestions you have on how you would support works by Black people. I call it PAW sometimes, like so PAW, PAW as in an acronym for poetry, art, and writing, and works by the Black diaspora. And I know I covered Black poets, artists, and writers respectively in October, so hopefully those videos have been saved somewhere on Facebook. And I think that's when, oh yeah, I think that was when I had my Facebook channel, but my YouTube channel wasn't working or whatever, or was blocked or whatever. But anyway, I hope there's a copy there somewhere, and people will be able to see them and be inspired by them, and hopefully people will check out Black poets, artists, and lyrical writers. And here goes. These are my, as per usual, I decided to do it in list form. I do try and mix up a bit sometimes, but anyway, I thought it would be easier to do it in list form right now. So for this week, so here goes. So number one, I'll say I love to support Black poets, artists, and writers, as I call it, PAW, an acronym for poets, artists, and writers, and works by Black people, and supporting their projects. And from a selfish point of view, I am trying not to repeat too many of the things I cover, but I know I'm a creature of habit. But I'd love to see what Italian football or soccer teams can do to improve relations with the Black diaspora. I know I talk about like Native Americans as well, and I would love for teams like AC Milan to have academies and sports clubs for Native people from across the Americas, as well as the Black diaspora, and improve relations with Italians and the Black diaspora through football. Easier said than done, of course, but also Native people from across the Americas and neurodivergent people. I'd love to see what we could do for Italian football. Think about number one, looking from a selfish point of view, but also helping more. Going back to Black empowerment, helping more Black people to get into poetry, art, and writing. And one of the things I was thinking about initially is, especially as I didn't get around to it in October, as I was talking about Black poets, artists, and writers, I did mention a bit about Windrush, I'm sure, and some of the poets, artists, and writers are from the Windrush generation. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. But I'd love to commemorate people from the Windrush generation. And maybe talk about like lessons in terms of migrants and refugees and minority communities. Like sometimes there's unfortunately a lot of animosity and division between Black and Asian people, and I think it could happen to Asian communities if we're not careful as well. Well, I'm only half Asian, but it could happen, heaven forbid, to members of my own family. So I think we need to lobby together and work together to support each other. Ethnic minorities united. It doesn't have to be against anyone except for like white supremacists or whatever, but I'd love for us to work. I thought of like ethnic minority united FC football clubs and other sports teams perhaps, and working together, lobbying together in politics and things like that. So yeah, lobbying together in politics and that kind of thing. Although it's difficult because I suppose we have different views, even like amongst Black people, there'll be different views. Like some will be more right wing, some will be more left wing, and whatever, which is fine. I mean, to me, I'm centre right. I'd say, generally speaking. Sometimes I'm centre left, but generally I'm centre right. So I don't class myself as extreme in any sort of views. Some people might disagree with me, but I'd say I believe in like fiscal conservative values, even though I am not a traditionalist, and also I'm a dog weller, if I'm honest, but trying to hopefully change my situation, but and help others as well. So yeah, helping more Black people to get into poetry, art, and writing. Moving on, number two. On that note, I'd love for people to learn about the Windrush generation. I also thought though as well about Black Wall Street, which I mentioned in my last video. That will cover now. So also about Black Wall Street and seeing what Black people can learn about from each other. So I often talk about mentorship. I know I want to say that on Mondays, not mentorship, which is probably what I want as a joke last time. But mentorship. So I know I struggle with pronunciation. So let's say black poets, artists, and writers teaching other black people how to get into poetry, art, and writing. So helping those, not before them, but after them. So leaving the breadcrumbs, leaving clues, or whatever they say, success leaves clues. But they could take them under their wing and help them, especially younger people, hopefully in a safe environment. So I know I often say you have to be careful of, obviously, child protection, safeguarding, and all that kind of thing, as we say here in the UK. I don't know if they use that term overseas, but and obviously you don't want any false accusations or whatever. But if they work to each other's, or you don't want to get people in danger or whatever, I'm sure. But if they work to each other's benefit, try and support each other, I think that would be a good thing. I hope that will make sense. But yeah, I think they're going to find a way to mentor, teach, and train people, young people, so in a safe environment. But yeah, like I say, they could have places where they have CCTV or whatnot, and parents could be there or things like that. For instance, parents or guardians, or in a group setting, so it's like sort of safe and secure for everyone. So for both the young people and the adults as well. I hope that makes sense. I'll say. Also creative rooms I hope to come to a bit later. Number 3, they can be talking about writings on freedom and what freedom means to the black diaspora, given the history of like slavery, colonialism, empire, and that kind of thing. Number 4, it'd be great to find out about works from people like the Windrush Generation, writings and things like that, and projects from Windrush Generation and Black Wall Street. And maybe they can network together. Given my use of alliterations, I think of like Black Wall Street and the Windrush Generation on Wednesdays. I think of black empowerment and that kind of thing. They could talk about their experiences in the West as well and things like that. I think of like the Black Wall Street and the Windrush Generation creating wealth together, building things like board games, card games, video games, and other products they could sell. Look at how they could network together. And a controversial one I normally say, and I know I do try not to read myself I say, but is that I would love to discourage people in the West from joining Western militaries, POC, people of colour, from joining militaries. In fact, I think if people stop like going to wars and supporting the weapons trade and things like that, the world would be much more peaceful. It would be a more peaceful world. Maybe black people could be more united and stuff like each other as well. But being in the military, I think, does not help with that situation. I'd love for us to find ways to defund, not necessarily defund, but give the taxpayers a choice of where their money goes. I mean, that's it could go. I suppose people might say, like, what about welfare and things like that? But I think if you're going to give people a choice, sometimes you have to accept. I suppose I could have said in point number 3, like about freedoms and whatnot, but freedom from force. If you're going to give the taxpayer a choice, or if you're going to support freedom of speech and freedom of expression, like I do, then as much as I can, then you're going to. I think you have to accept. You're going to have to accept that. So people have different views, and if people can choose where their tax money goes, some might say, I don't want to support migrants or refugees. I don't want to support overseas aid or whatever it might be. But it would be good if they were given that option. And I think POC should stop supporting like the weapons trade, the wars that go on. Stop joining the military and things like that, especially like given what happened to the Windrush Generation and the Black Wall Street and things like in history and how black and other POC have been treated. And instead we could support each other as allies, like POC, dare I say, fight the power, fight Western imperialism and colonialism and that kind of thing, empire together. Not when I say fight, I mean politically and that kind of thing. I don't mean necessarily physically, unless absolutely necessary. I think you should only use violence as a last resort. But if you join the military, if you go to these wars and support weapons trade and things like that, you're going to be supporting the war machine. So I think POC should boycott the war machine, in my opinion. I'd love for my own people, mixed race people, as I call it as much, as I said in my last video, to refrain from joining militaries. But yeah, I think the black diaspora in their case should support Africans and Aboriginals and support each other around the world and not join Western militarism. Just like Corey Holcomb in America says, if I got his name right, Corey Holcomb says the military is no place for black people. And I agree. I think POC should boycott the military and support each other instead. Support a place like South Africa especially, who went through apartheid as well as colonialism and whatnot. I mean, they say it's apartheid in South Africa, but I'm sure similar happened in other parts of Africa, like I'm sure it's similar in Kenya and also in parts of Asia, like India and places like that. But yeah, I controversially, I believe we shouldn't join wars and the weapons trade and things like that. And I want to stick to my alliterations and my patterns, and I suppose that makes me repeat myself a lot. But I don't think we should join the military. I know that doesn't begin with W. But moving on, number 5, I'd love to support, as I normally say, Black ambition, helping them to focus on their ambitions, whether that's poetry, art, writing, or whatever it might be. Again, getting back those teaching and training opportunities, mentorship opportunities, and whatnot, to get into those areas, and whatever those ambitions may be. As I say, helping more Black people to get into poetry, art, writing, and things like maybe those could be alternatives to joining the military, for instance. Supporting works by Black people. As I tried to do it, as I say, in October, raising the profile of Black poets, artists, and writers, and whatnot, and projects by Black people, like engineering and other projects as well. But as I say, because it's Wednesday, I'm thinking more of like the writings and things like that. And I'd love to promote and find out more about projects by the Windrush Generation, whether that's in business or poetry, art, writing, and that kind of thing, on that sort of thing. But yeah, more Black people could write poetry, art, and writing, and draw more pictures and things like that, and make more stories about the Windrush Generation, Black Wall Street, and things like that. Make their own movies. No, that doesn't mean W, but make their own movies. And things like that, and that sort of thing, and their own songs and things like that, promote members of the Windrush Generation, and look at ways that they can get their compensation, ensure they get compensation for what they went through. Hope more people find out about that. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to find stories by the Windrush Generation on their experiences. As sad as those may be, hopefully they can turn them into a positive, similar, I say, with Black Wall Street, and maybe they could exchange stories, and hope more people will look into those sort of things. Hope these videos will inspire more people to look into like the Windrush Generation, Black Wall Street, and their stories and that kind of thing. And I was going to say I don't read myself, but I love to promote their books, as they poetry, art, writing, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, poets, artists, and writers from the Windrush Generation, and writing about the Windrush Generation and about Black Wall Street and things like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Although some of those stories will be sad again, as I say, but hopefully they'll turn a negative into a positive, and I hope more Black ambition generally in Britain, America, and around the world. Number 6, as I say, I'd love to see them supporting, like having more academies and improving relations. So teams like AC Milan and all different Italian teams having their own academies and sports clubs for people from the Black diaspora, people from Africa, even maybe getting Aboriginals and Indigenous people from Australasia into footy, soccer, or whatever you want to call it, academies and sports clubs and whatnot. And similar for native people from across the Americas. So AC Milan could be amongst the first and the biggest, maybe, hopefully, to get more native people from Australasia, as well as Africa, the Americas, and Asia into footy, from a biased point of view. But yeah, I love to support works by Black people, going back to the original topic. Number 7, I know Celtic already does a lot of work to support people of different backgrounds, different colours and whatnot, and against imperialism, which is one of the reasons why I, as a POC, support them. And I remember a person made a video. Unfortunately, I don't think it's available anymore for whatever reason. I don't know if they deleted it or it was just deleted, unfortunately. But they made a video about why I, as a Black guy, as they put it, support Celtic. But yeah, hopefully Black and Native American and neurodivergent people can help Celtic to become world class. Think about world class, because it's a Wednesday, world class Wednesdays. But yeah, Celtic having academies, just like I say, with AC Milan and Italian teams as well, more generally. Number 8, maybe members of the Black diaspora around the world, as I say, including in Britain and America, members of the Windrush Generation, the descendants of Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Little Africa, as they used to call it, could and other places around the world, from Africa and around the world, could say positive things about each other and spread the love and Black unity and that kind of thing. To work together and support each other's works, as I say, support each other's poetry, art, writing, and other works, and work together. I suppose I could have said in point number 7, but I forgot. I think like point number 6, working as hard as necessary, and point number 7, only working as hard as necessary, like finding smart ways to work make it light work. Many hands make light work. Many minds make light work, as I say. A bit behind schedule as usual. Quite fitting. But number 9, as I say, how can we support more black people to become poets, artists, and writers? How can we raise the profile of black poets, artists, and writers, and that kind of thing? And number 10, how can we support more young black people to become poets, artists, and writers, and whatnot? And I am out, and peace and love.